For the genetically superior, success is easier to attain.
Humans are now artificially created and genetically perfected, but one naturally born man is about to show the world what it is missing. In the future, a man named Vincent performs his daily hygiene routine, which is exceptionally meticulous. He thoroughly cuts his nails, shaves his face and body, and ensures that every piece of his body that might contain his DNA is incinerated. He places a fake fingerprint on his index finger and gets dressed to go to work. He arrives at the Gattaca Aerospace Corporation, where he logs in using the same finger. His boss tells him that he has passed all his flight simulator tests with exceptional performance and that he will be the first human to go to Jupiter's moon Titan. His boss also notices that he is exceptionally clean, with not even a single strand of hair on his desk. He says that cleanliness is
Next to godliness.
His boss reminds him that before his mission, he has to pass a urine test. After his boss leaves, Vincent places some strands of hair on his comb and sprinkles something on his keyboard. Next, he arrives at the lab where the doctor refers to him as Jerome. While he pees, the doctor compliments his penis.
Beautiful piece of equipment there, Jerome. Have I ever told you that?
Gay. As the doctor runs his urine through the machine, the name Jerome Morrow pops up on the screen with a different man's picture. However, the doctor doesn't seem to notice it. Next, Vincent looks up at the missions being launched. His co-worker Irene arrives next to him and gives him a knowing look. She says of all the people here,
You're the only one who watches every one of them.
Narration by Vincent reveals that in this day and age, the field of genetics has progressed so much that babies are artificially created and genetically engineered to perfection to ensure they have no possibility of any disorder, disease, or imperfection of any kind. This is the norm. However, Vincent was a natural birth, not genetically altered in any way. When he was born, the doctors immediately ran a test on his genes and found the probability he had of developing things like mental disorders and heart disease. They declared his life expectancy
30.2 years.
However, despite all this, his mother, who had faith in God, believed he would do something special one day. As Vincent was growing up, he and everyone around him perceived him as chronically ill, due to all the probabilities he had for diseases and disorders, which were not normal in society anymore. Every time he even scraped his knee, his teachers refused to let him into school because he would be a liability. After feeling like they might have made a mistake with Vincent, his parents decided to go the right way and make a child artificially like everyone else. They requested a boy to give Vincent a brother to play with and named him Anton. Anton progressed in all developmental milestones significantly better than Vincent, and their father clearly preferred him. Vincent realized that while the two were brothers, there was something fundamentally different about the two. He felt inferior. The two brothers would often play a game called chicken, in which they would swim out into the ocean as far as they could to see who would get scared and turn around first. Anton would always win since he was easily the better swimmer of the two. From a very young age, Vincent grew a fascination with space and dreamed of becoming an astronaut. However, as he grew, his parents reminded him that due to his genetic probability of a heart condition, no company would hire him. Vincent learned that this was true. Even though discrimination based on genetics was illegal and he did not have to reveal his genetics to employers, they had ways of getting that information, such as by scrapping DNA samples from door handles, through handshakes, or simply by requiring urine tests, which could be turned into a DNA test behind closed doors. Vincent learned that in this day and age, humans of natural birth like him were only going to get menial jobs such as cleaners. Discrimination has become a complete science. Frustrated, one day Vincent challenges Anton to a game of chicken again, and this time, through sheer will, he manages to beat Anton, who almost drowns and is saved by Vincent. Vincent learns that he is not as weak as he thinks, while Anton is not as perfect. He leaves his family to pursue his dream and becomes a janitor at Gattaca. During this time, Vincent trains relentlessly and learns everything there is to learn about celestial navigation by heart.
What about you, Your Majesty? You dreaming of space? You can start by cleaning this space right here.
But he realizes no matter what he does, as long as he doesn't have the right DNA, the best test results in the world won't get him selected at Gattaca. He decides to resort to more desperate measures.
How did you hear about me?
He discovers that the genetic identities of artificially born people can be purchased on the black market.
The guy's practically gonna live forever. He's got an IQ off the register.
A dealer introduces Vincent to Jerome Morrow, who is an artificially created individual with nearly perfect genetics. He has an impeccable IQ, great physical characteristics, and an insanely long lifespan. The perfect specifications for an astronaut. He was a swimmer, but he had a car accident abroad and lost the use of his legs. Since the accident was abroad, people in the US don't know about it, and hence they think he is still a functioning member of society, so Vincent can take his identity without any suspicion. Vincent points out that his blood will match his picture, but the dealer says they look fairly alike and no one looks at pictures on IDs anymore. It's all about the DNA now. They make a deal. Vincent takes Jerome's identity, and Jerome and the dealer get 25% of all the money he makes. The dealer begins the process of turning Vincent into Jerome, which includes giving him contact lenses, cleaning up his look, and most importantly, giving him a brutal leg surgery with an incredibly long recovery time to make him as tall as Jerome. Jerome admires Vincent's commitment after watching him struggle post-surgery. Next, Vincent begins his life as Jerome. With Jerome's urine sample, he gets into Gattaca without even having to give an interview. Following this, every day, he sheds all his loose skin, shaves all the hair that has a risk of falling, and clips his nails, ensuring that none of his inferior DNA finds its way to the outside world. Meanwhile, Jerome provides him with his superior DNA samples to leave around the office. In return, Vincent pays the bills, allowing Jerome to live with the standards that he's used to. In the present, Vincent arrives at the office to see that his mission director appears to have been murdered. He seems stressed, and during the stress, he fails to notice that he has shed a tiny hair sample of his own. Detectives arrive on the scene and start sweeping every inch of the place for DNA samples. They sweep up Vincent's hair. Vincent arrives home and tells Jerome that he will be going to Titan. He also informs him about the mission director's death. Jerome gets suspicious because he knows the mission director was close to discovering the truth about Vincent. Vincent assures him that he did not kill the mission director. They decide to go out and celebrate. At the office, Irene arrives at Vincent's desk and secretly grabs the hair that Vincent purposely left behind. She gets it tested and finds Jerome's information. She is disappointed. Over dinner, Jerome compliments Vincent on his resolve to pull something like this off. Vincent expresses concern over the fact that he'll be gone for a year, and Jerome will be all by himself during that time, since he has no other friends except Vincent. The police run DNA tests and discover that Vincent, a genetically inferior human, was in the building on the day of the murder. Detective Hugo immediately assumes that Vincent killed the director because violence hasn't been taken out of his genetics, as it is with genetically perfected humans. He finds out that he used to be a janitor at Gattaca, but his superior asks what motive could Vincent have for killing the director. He also points to the fact that Vincent has a 90% chance of developing a heart disease by 30, so he's likely to be dead already. Only Detective Hugo continues to insist that this is a lead. His superior is curiously determined to not follow the Vincent lead. Hugo shows Vincent's picture around the office to people, but no one recognizes him. Classic Superman to Clark Kent situation. Vincent is running on a treadmill, and while the scientists think that they are monitoring his heartbeat, he is secretly wearing a sensor that is showing them Jerome's heartbeat. The sensor briefly malfunctions, and Vincent's erratic heartbeat appears on the screen, but he quickly takes the sensor off. Next, Vincent sees Irene looking at the launches, and she confides in him that she is not a perfect genetic breed like him. She has a probability of heart failure in her genes, which is why she will never go on a deep space mission. Vincent says that she seems perfect to him. She gives him a strand of her hair and says that he can study her genes. If he still thinks she is worthy, she'll consider going out with him. He blows the strand in the wind and wins her over. Next, Vincent is working when his face appears on every screen in the office, asking people to identify if they've seen this man. Vincent panics. He comes home and tells Jerome that they have to pack up the whole mission and leave because someone will recognize him. For sure, Jerome is outraged and says that Vincent will not quit now that they are so close to pulling this off. He assures Vincent that he won't get recognized. No one will suspect that an elite astronaut, a perfect genetic specimen, could ever do this. Next, Vincent goes out for a night with Irene. Meanwhile, the detectives decide to test everyone within a 5-mile radius of Gattaca. They end up testing both Jerome and Vincent, who both test as Jerome. Vincent also has to drop his contact lenses because the detectives are scanning eyes. Without the lenses, Vincent cannot see well, and he has a hard time keeping up with Irene, who wants to show him a sunrise over a field of solar panels as a romantic gesture. Next, Detective Hugo finds a cup that Vincent has drank from at the office, and when he tests it, he gets a match for the hair sample. The cup is days old, which leads Hugo to conclude that Vincent has been coming to Gattaca every day since the murder. This means Vincent is in disguise. Hugo orders that blood samples be taken from every Gattaca employee. During the testing, Vincent manages to slip the doctor a bottle of Jerome's blood and prevent being discovered. Afterward, he meets Irene and tells her he will leave in 2 days. The two decide to spend some time together before that. They go on a fancy date together. On the date, the two grow close. Vincent looks Irene in the eye and says he spent his whole life trying to get away from Earth, but now that he is about to, it seems he's finally found a reason to stay. Just then, Detective Hugo and his men arrive on the scene, and Vincent panics, grabs Irene's hand, and runs out. He beats up one of Hugo's men to escape, and Irene realizes that he is hiding something. He is about to tell her the truth, but she tells him to stay quiet. The two proceed to make out and spend a passionate night together. The next morning, Irene says that she knows he has something to do with the director's murder. Vincent tells her that's not true. Meanwhile, Hugo's superior becomes interested in the case of Jerome Morrow because he looks similar enough to pass for Vincent. When Irene learns that the detectives are looking into Jerome Morrow, she warns Vincent. Hugo's superior knows that she is dating Jerome, so he asks her to take him to Jerome's house. Vincent warns Jerome that the detective is coming, and Jerome sets himself up to look like a perfectly healthy man. The detective arrives, takes Jerome's blood, and finds nothing. But in the process, Irene learns the complete truth that Vincent is not who he says he is. She storms out and Vincent follows her. She says she doesn't want to talk to him because she doesn't even know who he is. He tells her his real name and the truth about his birth. He says that the two of them have something in common. Heart failure is in his genes as well, but he is already well past the time his genetic code says he was supposed to die. He tells her that this place is obsessed with imperfections, but he wants to tell her that they can be more than their imperfections. If he can do it, so can she. Next, it is revealed that the mission director was killed by his associate because he was trying to make cuts in the program. Knowing that he is free of the murder charge, Vincent arrives to see Hugo's superior because it is revealed that he is actually Anton. Anton tells Vincent that he cannot allow Vincent to go through with the launch because Vincent cannot do this. He doesn't belong here. Vincent is enraged that Anton is still trying to dictate what he can or can't do. He says he doesn't need saving like Anton did the last time they played chicken. Anton gets angry. He claims that Vincent didn't beat him, he beat himself. Not a great way to phrase that, buddy. Vincent insists that he beat Anton, and Anton says that he can prove Vincent is wrong. The two arrive at the beach for one last game of chicken. Vincent beats Anton again, and Anton asks how he is doing this. How is it possible? Vincent says that the difference between them lies in the fact that Anton is calculating the swim back to the shore.
I never saved anything for the swim back.
He is giving everything he has to win, saving nothing in the tank. Next, Vincent arrives to meet Irene. He gives her a strand of his hair so she can see his genetics and decide if she's still interested. She blows it in the wind, just like he did. The two proceed to share a passionate night. Before the launch, Vincent arrives to meet Jerome. Jerome tells him that he has saved enough DNA samples for Vincent to last a lifetime. He says that he will also be going on a journey just like Vincent. He thanks Vincent for sharing his beautiful dream with him. Next, Vincent arrives for the launch and learns that a last-minute urine sample has been added to the procedure. He realizes that he is going to be caught and gets depressed. However, the doctor refuses to report Vincent. He says that his son has been declared genetically unfit to do great things like Vincent, but because of Vincent, he believes that his son is no less than anyone else here. Vincent climbs aboard the rocket and the rocket launches off the ground into space. At the same time, Jerome pulls himself inside the incinerator and turns it on. As the rocket exits Earth, Vincent opens his eyes and sees space for the first time, like he's been dreaming of doing his whole life. The end. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.